Sean Payton that I mentioned earlier as we were getting into episode 29. Sean Payton said he is addicted to winning another Super Bowl in Denver with the Broncos. And just for a little perspective here on kind of Sean Payton's exit from coaching and then coming back in, with me being a diehard Houdat and all. So he said his heart wasn't in it anymore when he left New Orleans. And I totally understand the no call was gut wrenching. The Minneapolis Miracle was gut wrenching. What should have felt like offensive pass interference on, I want to say, is that Kyle Rudolph? Yeah, on Kyle Rudolph in the year after the no call. Drew Brees' last year throwing the interceptions against the Bucs. Like, that was a lot for them, knowing that the defense wasn't around as much, and then it does come around, but then it's like, oh, now the coaching and the offense can't necessarily click enough in the big moments to actually make it happen. So he takes a year off, and he comes back as a new head coach with a quarterback coming off the worst season of his career, and he says he's addicted again, or he's addicted to winning a second Super Bowl. So it just doesn't add up with what he said literally a year ago, leaving coaching and then coming back. But a lot of people knew he wanted the Broncos job. There was talks about the Cowboys job. There was talks about the Chargers job. But he's with the Denver Broncos, and he's only one of 9 active head coaches with the Super Bowl win. So will Sean Payton win his second Super Bowl in Denver, Marcus?
No. I don't have a soliloquy for you. I don't. I wish I did. I wish I can give you some groundbreaking analysis.
Yeah.
The kings of the NFL reside in the AFC West, and as long as you have to go through the Kansas City Chiefs to win a Super Bowl, probably not happening. So no. But hey, Sean, love that for you. I'm sure Denver Broncos fans ate it up. Oh my God, Sean's addicted to winning another one. We're gonna get it. Sorry, buddy. It's been 10 years since you had one in Denver. It's been 14 years since Sean Payton won one.
Yep.
Let's look to make it 11 and 15. See you next year. I don't know what to tell you. Sorry.
Yeah. It's an interesting layout for Sean Payton when you look at if he actually has the capability to win his second Super Bowl in Denver. I will say this. It will only happen with Russell Wilson. It will not happen with any other quarterback. And some people sitting out there believe that it won't even happen with Russell Wilson. But unless the Broncos are just absolutely horrible over the next year or two, which they have an exit strategy for Russ, they've already come out and said, hey, we're looking at ways to get out of this dog shit contract because of how he played last year. If Sean Payton can't make at least a run or make some sort of thing happen with Russell Wilson under center at his quarterback, I don't know who's going to be able to come out, who else will be able to come in rightfully with the mindset and just kind of the aggressiveness and grittiness of Sean Payton. Like, will he really be able to mold a quarterback like that? Because he came in and yes, Drew Brees was in the league at least for a few years. Yes, coming off of an injury, but Drew Brees quickly turned into the Drew Brees that he was. And he didn't necessarily have to deal with the Jameis Winston because he did get hurt, but was 5-2 under Sean Payton's guidance. So I feel like if Sean Payton can get Jameis Winston to a 5-2 start, and yes, we don't know what would have happened for the rest of the year, but through those 7 games, Jameis Winston was playing decent in his career, or decent, in a New Orleans Saints uniform. But he's got to do it with Russell Wilson. We know that he has the defensive roster. The defense is elite enough to do so. We know he has the roster around him on both sides of the football. But my drawback with Sean Payton is, and I witnessed it firsthand being a New Orleans Saints fan, he has his moments in games sometimes. And I'll take you guys back to the no call of the NFC Championship game. It was about 1 minute and 20 seconds left in the game. And instead of running the ball to keep the clock going, Michael Thomas, it was a great year. I think this is the year with the record catches, or maybe it was the year before that. I'm not sure. We snapped the ball immediately. Drew Brees comes up and throws a pass to Michael Thomas. It's low to the ground, it hits the ground, and it stops the clock in the NFC title game. I don't know if it was the same season. I want to say it was the year after when they had the shootout against the 49ers at home. Jared Cook goes crazy, catching those first 2 touchdown passes, gets knocked out with a concussion. Maybe it was Dennis Allen. A lot of people went after Dennis Allen's head. You put a rookie, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, who had a great rookie year, and clearly he's jumped around to some teams, but he's still a top safety in the league. You put a rookie, C.J. Gardner-Johnson, on the best tight end in the league at the time in George Kittle, and maybe the best team in the league at the time in the San Francisco 49ers. Now, whether it's the regular season or the postseason, he's just had these moments in games where he outthinks the room. And I'll even go on for a take here for you guys, because unfortunately, the more that I saw Sean Payton make those types of decisions, in certain points of the game, just hear me out for a second. Sean Payton opened up his one and only Super Bowl second half kickoff appearance with an onside kick, which doinked off of a Colts player's helmet. Can you imagine the conversation that would be around Sean Payton if he wouldn't have pulled that off and they would have lost the one and only Super Bowl for the New Orleans Saints? And I understand if my aunt had balls, she'd be my uncle. I totally get that, right? But when you look at how he's had similar questionable decisions or choices not go his way, it makes you think back and wonder, is he really, that I mean, yes, he really is that elite of a coaching mind, especially on the offensive side of the ball. The Saints offense was dynamic really the entire time that Sean was there. I don't think he was ever under a top 10, um, yards per game or points per game team. But when you talk about what the Broncos are now, when you talk about Russell Wilson coming off the worst season of his career, when you talk about the overall situation in Denver and what he's walking into, and then you combine that with how he can possibly outthink the room, that's what makes me wary. So the only way he'll win his second Super Bowl in Denver is if it's with Russell Wilson, which who knows how many years Sean's going to be there, who knows how many years Russ is going to be there. If he
Sure.
wants to stick it out in Denver, we can't foresee that. But the second win will have to be with Russell Wilson. And I'll go on the record and say, of course, I'm hoping Sean Payton wins the second Super Bowl. I watched that man turn around my favorite sports team in history and bring us to the promised land. We used to wear bags on our fucking heads, and we actually got a Super Bowl ring. So, of course, I'm hoping for Sean Payton to actually take the Denver Broncos to the promised land. Does part of me not want him to? Of course, because he takes one season off, goes on, broadcasting or whatever, and then now he's coaching Russell Wilson with the Denver Broncos.
Sure.